drew a triangle here. I'm not going to solve it all the way. I'll just start setting it up. So I'm going to label my stuff here. So I'm going to put beta on here. So if I call this 70 degrees and this is beta, that means B has to be across from it. That's 5. That's gamma. Remember, gamma looks like a Y. That's 10 degrees. That means its buddy, C, has to be across from it. Doesn't matter as long as gamma is in one spot and C is directly across from it. That means I have alpha left and A, and I don't know either of those two. Okay, that's how I drew my triangle. Then from there, so far all we know is law of sines. To do law of sines, you need to know an angle across from its side. Right now, do I know an angle across from its side? Yeah? Essence, which ones do I know? 70 and 5. I know those two things. So because I know those two things, I can do a law of sine problem. Sine of 70 over its buddy. It's going to be equal to, and it's going to allow me to solve for anything else. So what do we want to solve for in this one? Let's solve for C first. Let's solve for C first, and we'll explain here in a second. Let's do C. It's fine. You could do alpha first, or do A first, but let's set up this one. So if I do C here, sine of the angle over C. So you don't have to handwrite it out anymore. We've done it a few times now. Get used to it and get better at it. We're going to take, when we have a cross multiply problem, take the two numbers that you know and multiply them together. So 5 times sine of 10. 5 times sine of 10. There's that answer. And I'm going to divide that by the missing one, sine of 70. Divided by sine of 70. Oh, that looks awful. 0.92 for my C value? I must have made a mistake somewhere. It's not a right triangle, so C does not have to be the biggest one anymore. That's right. Does 0.92 make sense here? I'm going to say it does. Why does it make sense here? Because the 10 is so small. Very good, Katie. The angle across from it is a 10-degree angle. So the side is going to be little. It's a little angle. It's going to be a little side. It's a 10-degree angle. 0.92 is okay. All right, we solve for C. Let's solve for A. So sine of 70 over 5 equals the third set of numbers. So these two mixed together. Well, in order to solve it, I got to know a part of it. And I don't know A or I don't know alpha. So I can't solve this problem then. I'm going to remind you that the first thing you should always do is subtract from 180. That angle, find the third angle first. Do that the very first thing you do. 180 minus a 70-degree angle minus a 10-degree angle tells you that alpha is 100 degrees. Okay, so sine of 100 over A. So again, in my calculator, I'm going to multiply the two that I know together. So 5 times sine of 100 divided by sine of 70. Take the two that you know and multiply them together. Divide by the one you don't. A is going to be equal to 5.24. Does it make sense that A is the biggest number?
Yeah, because the angle is 100.
The angle is the biggest angle, so the side should be the biggest side. Good.